It's your man Hanley from On the Line with. We're on episode 97 of Car Chats. We're going to be going live with Montreal MC Prophecy, the MC. He's going to be jumping in a minute. Shout out to our sponsor of the show, Diamonds Rising. Make sure you go check their stuff out. Make sure you go check out R-Star Get Up, based out of Mass. Just check out the sponsor, check out the other people I mentioned. And yeah, we'll be going live with Prophecy, the MC, for episode 97 of Car Chats in a moment. Alright, Prophecy just joined. Yo.
Yo.
What's going on, bro?
What's going on, my guy?
How you doing?
Chilling, dog. You?
Alright, I'm just chilling, same old shit, different day.
You know it. You hear me well, though?
Not locked out of Instagram.
Oh, yeah. That shit again.
Fucking asshole,
Well, what
man.
up, Luke Key? What up, Luke Key? I see you, my dog.
So, to get started, why don't you just introduce yourself to everybody, and so they know who it is if they're not tapped into the live right now.
All right. What up? So, well, first and foremost, man, thanks for having me. I'm on. Really, true, appreciate it, man. Big shout out to Rico Blocks. Also, was that direct link from you and I. That's how we got it, make it happen. But
That's the homie.
Yeah, it is a dog, man. That's the G, man. That's the G right there. But so basically, simple put, me, I wouldn't say up and coming because I've been doing this a long while. I just feel like now I'm starting to get a bit of attention, but I've been going way back. Montreal, born and raised, West Island. Lived my whole life in the West, still in the West, still repping it. And I started basically up and coming artist around age 14, writing my first bars. And that's really when I had discovered hip hop. So, and then that's really where it sort of just take off. And we could talk about that in a minute, but essentially the foundation started around that age. 35 today, so going quite the run, growing strong. I have 2 LPs, one EP. I want to work on another EP in the works right now. So I'm the kind of you don't see me much, then I come out and it's I bring it back. I'm one of those.
We're from the
I'm
same.
one of those.
You said you're 35 right now?
35, yeah.
Yeah, so we're from the same generation and same era. So what influences were some of your main ones when you got into it? What made you want to write your first verse?
Actually, the story behind that is rather interesting one. What up, Ariello? So essentially what happened was around 8.5, shy of 9, let's say, my parents had divorced and I wouldn't talk for shit, man, to no one, bro, not even to and as it was to at one point when my mom was like, yo, he needs to get something. He needs to have an escape. He needs therapy. He needs, I don't know what, but he needs to have a purpose. Because at this point, it was I wouldn't say shit to no one, right? And then a couple of years later, my mom started to date some other man, and he had 2 kids. Older son, so older than me, and then had also a stepsister at the time. So, and that's where everything changed for me, because actually meeting my former stepbrother, he was actually, I'm 35, so I would say give or take he's probably 38 as we speak, probably going shy of 40. So he had a couple of years on me, and he was a hip hop head. Yeah. When I'm telling you hip hop head, would show up to my mom's place every other weekend with his own boombox. Guy's a G, own boombox, sets up about 100 CDs every time. Yeah. And he switched it up. Guy's crazy, man. I never got to find out how many CDs the man's got. It's crazy. So he'd be bringing shit, and I'm talking all of them, man. EPMD to Onyx to Gangstar to Mobb Deep to Woo. to Big, to Pac, to
Man, fucking
Nas, to Tribe
Gangstar in
Called
the
Quest,
'90s
Naughty
and
by
shit.
Nature, The Roots. We could go on, my guy. We could go on. He had
Gangstar's
them all.
Gangstar's one of my favorites, man, ever.
Bro, Gangstar goes in, bro. Shouts to Preem, shouts to Guru, rest in peace.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that.
Yeah, no,
Shit, yeah,
rest in
Gangstar,
peace.
EPMD, all of them, man. All of them just bring
Woo,
back that.
woo.
Like, that's the era we're from. And the boombox thing, man, like, when I was younger, man, all I wanted was a boombox I could carry with me.
No doubt.
And then
You know what I
Walkmans
mean?
came out, so I was like, eh.
No, I couldn't relate more, man. So it's exactly that. And you know what's actually interesting is that when I discovered all of that, it took me a second for it to sink in. But honestly, kid you not, give it maybe a month or two, and the more I kept hearing talk, I was like, yo, I think I want to fucking do this, man. But without realizing that at the time I wasn't saying shit to no one, there you go. That was my purpose. That was my escape. That was my reason of doing this, you know?
Yeah.
So next thing you know, and if we go back just a little bit of time before I even met them, at one point my mom just randomly bought me this, like, I vividly remember how it was. It was like almost like a forest green, emerald green type of front cover, and just blank. And it was just like, it was supposed to be just like a notepad, and just be like, yo, you may not want to talk to me, and you may not want to talk to others, but maybe you want to talk to yourself.
Yeah.
And you see, at that time, I didn't know what she meant by that. But then after meeting him, the whole thing came full circle. Before you know it, the note thing would become a rhyme book.
Yeah.
Simple as that. Started writing a bunch of like shit that I thought, and then making it rhyme, because instantly I was hooked to hip hop. Like
It's
it is, I'm
crazy.
sure, for a lot of hip hop heads, you know. It's instant. It doesn't take long. It's you feel it or you don't. You know what I mean?
Definitely. Yeah, no, I definitely relate to that. But it's crazy how, like not just hip hop, but music as a whole can, like, bring someone, like, out of, like you were saying, like, vocally you're just isolating yourself from talking to people.
Yep.
So, like, and then, like, that one little thing you hear brings you to a whole nother fucking spot and trajectory than what you were on just a day before that. It's crazy what music and the art in general can do for people, man. It's incredible.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. So yeah, so before you know it, I started like take my craft seriously. But funny enough, he never really knew that that's what I was doing on the side. It took me a while to be like, yo, I'm comfortable with my craft, to really say like I put it out there, you know. So, but then once it did, that's where I started taking it to a whole new level. Started to work. I had a group at the time too, Ill Busy, shouts to Ill Busy. So, you know, and then that's what really started for me. And also I had a beat maker back in high school. That it's funny, man. We had sync classes for like almost 3 years straight to find out like, yo, like he just plays it on his thing, and I'm like, yo, like, what is that? He's like, yo, it's one of my beats. And I'm like, oh shit, man, you make beats. And the next thing you know, I'll be at his place, we start recording, fuck it around. But that's how you get better at this thing, man.
That's how it started.
You need to have a bit of a foundation.
I found a home studio. They had like a whole booth and everything, and I'm like, well, fuck. So, like, I was boys with the guy who owned it. So, like, we were there, like, fucking before classes in the morning started at, like, 5 in the morning. We're in a fucking in the booth before going to, like, a high school class. You felt like the shit when you had that access, bro.
Bro, it was the fucking
it's
best.
Like having a cigarette in the morning, and they're like, yo, where are you coming from? I'm like, the studio, bitch. Like,
yeah. Yeah,
like,
there was a time. I feel like we taking the whole studio thing for granted, man. It's a blessing to be in any studio, man. It's not what it is, man. It's the whole thing about Spotify and all that. Like, it's cool, but at the same time, it's like, yo,
it's not the same, bro.
It's totally different. Game has completely changed entirely.
Like, there was a time where, like, if you weren't, like, pushing your shit on MySpace or, like, handing out bootleg CDs, you were not fucking promoting. Like, bro, there was no platforms you could just pop up and be like, yo, can I be on your platform to, like talk about my music? Like I tell a lot of the other people I've interviewed, like, yo, there was a time you'd have to be at, like, in Montreal at C-Cut or whatever, like, hours before the hip-hop show and be like, yo, is there a fucking 5-minute slot that I could just come and talk? You know, like, way back in the day, I got put on I think it was Dawson's hip-hop station at the time, and, like, it was through an aunt of mine's neighbor. He's like, oh, I know the DJ and the host for that show. And I'm like, okay, well, if you get me a slot. So, like, I ended up getting a slot there, and then from there I was like, yo, I gotta start, like, utilizing these fucking random contacts with people. And then I think that's where, like, my whole network journey began, like, trying to, like, network with as many people as possible, whether they're artists, DJs, radio hosts, fucking break dancers.
Yeah, and you heavy on that shit today, man. I got mad love for that, bro. The shouts to you for real, dog. Cause yo, you do it. I can tell that you in it for the love of the game, man. Like you,
Yeah,
it's all
I don't make
about.
any fucking money off this, dog. There's not a single cent unless I have merch runs, unless I'm making merch. There is no fucking profit for
Yeah,
this and this for me at all. I
exactly.
mean,
But it's
in the
all
future when
about
I build
to
it to
begin with.
something else, I'm building it to something else and more profiteering later, but the
Yeah,
essential part of it interviews will remain free. That's the essential part of my thing.
yeah.
Every other platform's like, yo, $10 and we'll play your track. Like, yo, fuck all that shit, man. Like I could play 30 of his tracks for free. Like, like why am I gonna
There you
pay for
go,
one
dog.
single track?
Yeah, yeah. I feel you, dog.
So
I
like
feel you. And I
I guess it's
respect
cause
MCs, that are, in there with their respective status. Um, but at the same time, it's like, you're like, I still need to make a status for myself. I know where I stand from comes to my music. When it comes to my music, I know exactly where I stand.
yeah,
But it's like on the flip side, it's like, yo, there's so many brothers I can name you that showed up to fucking like, yo, I can think of like just straight up last year, February, middle of the storm, you had Righteous Factual showing up for free out of their own gas. I feel bad not paying them back. And they'd be like, yo, Righteous be like, yo, don't even worry. We're about to gas, like it's nobody's business. Went up to album release, showed up like a G. We took shots. You know what I mean? Like, that's real, bro.
there's
That's real. And
still
nothing could buy that. Nothing could buy
yeah,
that.
there's still a small minority of people that are like that from like from the era that we come from, like originally. Like back then, like if you were rolling with people, it was just solidified. You were just it was do or die with them. You know what I mean? Now like
Yeah.
everything's fucking fractured. There's always somebody hating on the next man, even within the groups that they're in. Half the time there's just this undercover hate that they're just spewing like behind the scenes and shit because they're either jealous, envious, which are basically the same shit. But like I mean it's crazy. Like there's no foundation of respect. Like everything back in the day was built off a foundation of respect first and loyalty.
100%. I said on one of my tracks of the last record, I said, there's no loyalty when royalty takes over. And that's
Facts.
literally what it is. That's literally what it is.
Yeah.
Everybody can say they down and shit, but when the real bucks are involved, man, all of a sudden, man, oh, I see what y'all doing. I see what y'all doing. I should have known. I should have known. You know what I mean? So at the end, it's like, I want to like, yeah, establish myself and all that. Sure, if profit comes along, but I'll never compromise the art of it. I'll never compromise the culture of hip hop. And people sometimes tend to like kind of forget that. Like they get on like their Spotify and they drop in a beat and they're like, yo, I'm gonna get views. Cool, get your views. That's all good. But at the end, work your craft.
Yeah.
That what comes first. If views follow, but at the end, work your craft. I think that's really important, and it's something that you'll never be the best at. You could
Yeah.
just be the best of yourself, and there's always improvement there,
Mm.
right? Because we improve every single day as individuals, as human beings, as how we are. That's another reason why my MC name starts off with prophecy. The MC was really just so I can have an AKA. I can be on platforms, you can reach me, but it's been prophecy for years.
Yeah.
Most people just call me Prophet Shorts. But the thing is that the whole thing is that I have an idea and I have a philosophy in life. And that's another reason why that name was fitting for me, because it sort of represents that, right? But at the end of the day, I think most important thing is that you got to know the foundation, and it's a never ending study. Like you could study it for decades and still be like, yo, I discovered
Mm.
this posse cut on like a Mob Deep album that I didn't know, and you know what I mean? Like there's so
Yeah.
many gems out there, bro. It's a
When you
whole world to discover, man.
when you go back and reflect on like the shit that we came up on, like there's so much shit you miss, like whether it's a message in the track or if it's like or it's just a line or like you said a deep cut from an album. Like
Yeah,
there's
all
so much
crazy.
shit that you reflect on. But with the name prophecy, what's the story behind it?
Okay, so the main story behind it, actually, funny enough, I was in the middle of class, and this happened at the time. My mother was still dating with the guy I was telling you, and then so I was deep in like, yo, I want to do this, and I'm fucking around in the middle of a class, and all the like MC names finishing with Y really caught up to my ear. Like, I could think of now, let's say a couple years back, terminology. If we go way back when, Prodigy, guy like names like that, Theology 3, like dudes like that. I always fucks with those kind of names. I always thought it had a really like catchy sound to it, but I was saying too, I'm a guy that has I love philosophy, I love quotes. I'm a guy that's very like meditative. Sometimes I'll just sit down. I won't say shit, but I'll think a million things. So so the name kept fitting. And another thing too is that the last letter. Very few people thought of that connection, but the last letter of my MC name. So there's that interconnection there. They're both
Right.
connecting, right? So at the end, you could go from top to the end, but at the end, it's what was most fitting, I thought, for me. And it was, I won't lie to you, it's a name that I got in high school. Maybe today I'd like rename and be like, okay, cool, I can vibe with that name. But it's sticking with me now.
Yeah.
Like everybody that knows me in prophecy. So it's kind of like, and I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that because at the end, I'd rather have a name that I'm going to stick to that people really identify me to. They come up with some name that I probably won't even relate to in who knows in a year's time or 2 years time. So.
Yeah.
So I value that shit at the end of the day. So the MC added that, but I don't think I would have added the MC if you were to add the Young Prophecy from like, 17, 18 years ago. I don't think I would. I would think I'd be really there to say it, and I say it on all the humbleness because I still have to work on my craft. I always have to improve, but I think I can firmly say that at this point I know my style, know what I want to talk about, know what kind of bars I want to go for, and I try to go a bit all over the place too. I've got a bit of the more like deep storytelling as much as we could go heavy on the bars, on some boom bap, and you got to have that little balance. Matt, shout out to
Yeah, I
Rico.
was just gonna say
Yeah,
Rico's
that's
just
the
joined the
G. That's the
chat.
G right there, man. That's G level. But yeah. So just to say, basically, it took me a while for me to establish that title for myself. And like I said, there's always room for improvement. There always will be.
So,
Sometimes you will be put in check and be like, and someone be like, yeah, that's 16, this and that. Yo, scratch it off, make a
yeah,
brand new one.
yeah,
Brand new, it's gonna happen to all of us, right? So at the end of the day, I take my craft seriously, and I think whoever takes me seriously will be rewarded accordingly. Like put
yeah,
me on a 16. If it's the first time you ever put me on, and I'm gonna make sure that I won't put that verse to sleep unless I feel like it's up there.
yeah.
You know, and again, in all
So
humbleness, like I always look for ways to improve, and we should all do that.
yeah,
You know,
word. And what's the most recent projects you have out? Which one was that?
that was last year's, which was a pap set between two different roads. It was a major comeback for me. Kind of been quiet for a while, and then I released. It was a 19-track album, and that's what I
Okay.
released. I sent you. I think, yeah, I did send you a link at one point.
Yeah, no, I checked
Um,
some of it out. I couldn't remember the name of the
yeah,
album
so
offhand.
it's called pap set between two different roads because, well, first of all, it's a long album. I wanted a long title that was fitting for the length of the album itself. So there was that. I felt like a title really, really too short for such a massive because 19 is a lot, man.
Nowadays,
19 is a lot.
yeah.
Very, very, very few. Even when I check like in the game, 19-track albums they don't come around as much as they used to.
Oh
And that
man.
shit was heavy. I fucks with that, like we go back in like the 90s and like I think of like Method Man Judgment Day. Wasn't it like 22 or some shit?
Yeah, yo,
It
man, people were
wasn't
putting
ending,
23,
but it was
24
dope.
tracks on joints, man. Like it was crazy. And now
And then
it's
we had the
like
double
eight
albums,
songs. Now there's
Yeah.
like 8 songs, and they're all like under 2 minutes or 3 minutes, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like, it sounds
Yeah,
like
I know
it sounds like
exactly
a
what you mean,
DJ
bro.
just cut up a bunch of different verses and made a track out of it. Like, I'm like, what the fuck is going
Word.
on?
Word. On yo, couldn't relate more, man. We'll
So
keep it 100. Couldn't relate more. But yeah, it's exactly that, man. Like 2 minutes and a half tracks, I get it when like you feel like you're overextending the track. Sometimes some certain tracks have to be more like compressed so that it really has that replay value. Be like, yo,
yeah,
I'm putting that back on, man. You know what I mean? But there's a lot of tracks where it's like, yo, you've got so much room for so much just shit to say. Go for that, man. Go for those avenues. Like on the album, there's two 48-bar tracks. There's 11:07 p.m. where I'm actually talking a narrative of this guy that's just like caught up in some bullshit with the wrong people. Karma catches up to him, dies at 11:07 p.m. but the whole 48 bars explain the story of that. And then I got the 48 bars of wisdom where it's just straight up like knowledge the whole way, and just be like, yo, this is the title and the concept was fitting for that kind of beat. But I felt like there was a lot of room to say shit, and it wasn't one of those beats where I was like, yo, I'm gonna do like, yo, like 3 verses, bring people on. Sometimes it's one of those things you just feel it, you know.
Yeah.
You gotta feel that as an artist. I think that's and I'm sure you get that vibe too, you know.
Yeah, because I made music myself for years, man. Like I still do. Like I'm working on stuff right now, but I mean, like the writing part is the part I miss most. Even though I never really stopped, it's just I started getting more serious with it when I started missing it more, and then I started doing the interview stuff, just to like find something to do back in the hip hop community because I was out for so long. And I mean, now it's just manifesting into a bunch of different fucking ventures. So I'm like, one week I'm doing this, then another week I'm doing something else, and I'm just like trying to keep up. Like, fuck, I have so much music coming in and out of my inboxes. It's fucking crazy.
Yeah, man, and you connected with some heavy dudes. Like I got to check a couple of your podcasts, and yo, we heavy, bro, in Montreal. We heavy, man.
Oh, bro, I'm
Four,
from
5 foot
Montreal
strong, man.
originally, you know? Like, I'm from Montreal originally, so I
Yeah,
have bias love for out there.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
like, I was just there last, well, a week and a half ago. I linked up with Rico when I was out there, actually, him and Leon Stone, and,
Yeah,
but had to come
Leon
back
Stone, I
with,
think, has made some tracks with. I think he's one of the big producers for Rico, if I'm not
yeah,
mistaken. I see his name a lot
he's his
popping up.
in-house, it's his in-house producer.
Okay,
So
word.
he produced like King of the Jungle. He has that new Mercy track he has coming out soon. He has
Heavy.
Risk It All. He's got a lot of shit with Leon, man. They're dope. And they're fucking funny as hell when they're together, man. Their fucking debates are fucking hilarious. But
Oh, you mean? Oh, you're talking about Rico and Leon, right?
yeah, they're
Word.
debating. When I was there, man, I was so fucking stoned and I was trying to listen to it all and I just couldn't stop laughing. I was just like, holy fuck.
Oh shit.
But yeah,
Word.
shout out to those two. But in regards to that album that you dropped last year, how has it been, as you said, like a comeback for you? What was the response like from it?
Honestly, whenever I ask, and I think it's funny you ask that question because up until recently, even the people that recently discover it, I always ask one thing is, what's your favorite track?
Yeah.
Just simple as that. You don't necessarily have to break down the whole record. Sometimes people don't really time for that or consume music in a different way. You know, there's that analogy as well. I'm not expecting every person that's gonna like press play on the album to necessarily run the whole thing through, but I think for the most part, you know, or if you're really more of a like, yo, like I love listening to like full length albums, then yeah, you know what I mean? You can enjoy it that way. You can enjoy it by single, you can enjoy it however you want. The point is I'm asking people what's your favorite track, and I always, practically all the time, get a different track. That alone is the best compliment I could ask for. I get a different track. Some are more for the haters track, Haters Can Be Loved. Some are for Good Feeling. Some like the track I did with Buds, Make Way, shouts to Make Way, Take 'Em Up. Some like the track, actually, now we have Rico on
Yeah,
Acknowledge with Paranoid
that
as
was
well.
dope. That was a
Disgusting
dope
track.
track.
Disgusting track. The way that it came out, the way that we delivered, every verse, everything about, and the touch C for the beat. I mean, XA, bro. What a fucking beat maker, man. As slept on as it gets, man. The guy is a fucking monster. But anyway, so so at the end, but to also answer the initial premise of the question, it was more like I came to a point where it took me a lot to hop on a record to be like, yo, I fucks with it. Unless it was like the catalog that I usually vibe with, or unless like I have some of my boys that I really vouch for, they're gonna be like, yo, check this or check that. Like it took me a while to hop on the new school MCs. Don't get me wrong, they're incredibly ill. But like even like guys like Joey Badass took me a minute.
Yeah.
But once I did, I was like, yo, I'm on the train, bro. Just let me know, bro.
Yeah, I
Anytime, man.
fuck with
Anytime.
Joey. Especially his first 2 projects.
Yeah. Like, guys like J. Cole, guys like, Griselda, So took me a while to get on that kind of hip hop. But then when I did, I was like, yo, mad respect. The thing is that I find it's a percentage. It used to be a max. Like golden
Yeah.
era of hip hop. You know what I'm talking about, man. They used to call it the jungle for a reason.
Yeah.
Where the jungle is at now. Where is the jungle? You know what I mean? Because jungle is us hip hop heads being like, yo, we want to have the best album, the best track, the best verse, the best. Perfect. but why are we just a group when it used to be an entire culture?
Yeah.
You know, like earlier we were talking about Spotify and all that. It comes full circle with the conversation. I like that.
Yeah.
So, you know, like back in the day, being signed was huge,
Yeah.
huge. And booths, like if you had your own booth, perfect. But yo, you didn't have internet. So
Yeah.
unless you were not going to distribute that music to executive labels,
Yeah.
besides just recording the music itself, your studio only had so much value.
Yeah.
Now you could just put it. Rico killed it with the fucking comment. You know, it's funny because I was saying the jungle and I was like, yo, is he gonna do this? Is he gonna drop that shit? But yo, King in the Jungle, a fucking banger. Yeah, Rico's an architect. You see, like, I fucking respect guys like Rico because like he keeps it 100. Like
Yeah.
100, right? If not
He's kept it
110,
authentic,
it's
man,
not, you
since
know?
back in the
Yeah.
day.
Exactly. So what I'm trying to say is basically like you look at now, like to say that you got bars, well, like what do you have that based up on? Is it like is it the message? Is it the craft? Is it the wordplay? Is it the metaphors? But you see, just that alone, elements I just mentioned, you don't find it. I find as much as we used to, and I think nobody can deny
Yeah.
that. And like we used to be a mass, now we're a percentage. You know,
Yeah.
I'm coming back to that at the end. And don't get me wrong, man. Hip hop, anything in music has to evolve. I'm not against anything, but just take your craft seriously,
Yeah.
man. You know, sometimes I'm like sometimes I hear that my boy did his yo, check this track, man, and it was mumble rap for legit, I think 5 minutes, something like 8 dudes
Yeah.
were on the track. And I'm just like, yo, I can't even tell you who's actually better because it's all the same shit. I can't even tell you who has flavor. Nobody's got flavor. There's no flavor there.
Fucking mumble cipher.
I never understood the mumble rap in the first place. I said it. It starts with mumble. Hip hop is about words. It's about expressions. It's about
Enunciation, brother. Enunciation.
you know what I mean? It's about making statements, bro, and it's about respecting the culture. So at the end of the day, you want to do that, fine. But then, you know, it's funny. Sometimes you'll hear some of those tracks. You're gonna be here like, yo, like I got bars. Well, no, you can't, man. You can't. Your bar has to start bar 1 and it has to finish up bar 16, and it can't be a let down in between. Like, and
Yeah.
you know, and that applies for all of us, man. I'm the type sometimes is gonna be like, oh, like sometimes I'll get excited too early in the verse, and I'll wake up the next morning and be like, yo, you know what? I'm gonna scratch that bar. I'm gonna keep a bit of that. I'm gonna work my way around it. I got my foundation. Let's see what I can really polish with that, right? But at the end of the day, I find a lot of the new kids just don't do that. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that there's not a lot of good music out there these days. I'm just saying the percentage is lower than it used to be. You know? So at the end of the day, like I I, I respect a lot of the young up and coming artists in the game. Mad love for them. Shout out to them. But I feel like we have to like sort of spread it across the map to be like, yo, hip hop has to be a culture. It's you gotta do some homework. I was doing my homework the other day. I was late. I was late on the latest Nas. Like, I almost had to apologize for myself. I was like, yo, what did I wait so fucking long for this? It's Nas. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I feel
So,
you.
so
Yo,
that's
his longevity is crazy, man.
yeah, man. Yeah, man. And I got mad love for the young kids coming up in the game, man. Grabbing the mic in 2023, man. After everybody that's been preceding us, that's a lot, man. That's a lot.
Yeah.
So, but at the end of the day, know who came before you.
Yeah.
You know, and make it your own. Make it your own. You always gotta have your own flavor. You gotta sound like you. Can't sound like someone else. But at the end of the day, take your craft seriously, and then just and take it from there. And take it from there. But that's the foundation, because that's the foundation of hip hop in the first place. Rhythm and poetry, man.
Yeah.
We tend to forget that that's what it even stands for in the first place, man.
Yeah.
I gotta skip a bunch of like YouTube, you know, like Spotify recommendations to be like, oh, there you go, that's poetry.
Yeah.
That's poetry.
Yeah.
That last letter is mad important just as much as the first, you know?
Definitely.
So,
And
yeah, man.
so, what do you have? What do you have in the works now? You have another project in the works?
Right now, I'm starting to collect beats from the EP. It's gonna be a little bit shorter, about probably 8 tracks. I'm gonna reveal details as it goes along, but definitely heavy. It's gonna have a bit of similarity production on the previous record. That's one hint I'm gonna leave out for those that actually listened to the last record. In the meantime, I have some singles on the side that I'm gonna slowly but surely release it. I'm just trying to figure out timeline on how I'm actually gonna do this, right? Is it gonna be like 1, 2 singles, then like one single off the EP, another single, shit is out, right? I need to sort of just figure out that sequence. But yo, I've got tracks in the bank. I got verses in the bank. I'm working on all that, and I strongly recommend also everybody that's on the chat right now to give a good listen to my last record last year, Path 7 Between Two Different Roads. It's a massive one, and that's another reason why there's a little setback, because there was all that time, effort consumed off the record.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I got verses in the bank. I got tracks in the bank. I'm working on all that, and I keep my circle. Beat makers that I work with, they always gonna get a holler.
Yeah.
Like I try to keep the circle real authentic, and if they want to get on the track, they always can get on, man. And I'm always gonna have verses for brothers like Rico or anybody that wants to work with me and take it seriously, and then just want to get on any kind of track, man. I'm always down with work with new people, meet new producers, man. It's a world out there to discover, like we were saying, right? So it's ours to make the most of it. So.
Definitely. You have any that 48 bars? Was it 48 bars of wisdom? You said.
Yeah. Yep.
Do you know that verse off the top?
I know the whole thing off the top. You want the beat for it?
If you want to spit it over the beat or
Yeah.
acapella, it's up to
We
you,
can
bro.
spit over the beat. I just don't know how people are gonna hear it, so I guess we could do a quick mic check, right?
Yeah, just make sure the beat's not too loud. It should be all right.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna try real quick. Let's see what I can cook up for you. Okay. Let me know if you hear it too loud. I'm gonna calibrate the beat. How's that? Is that too loud?
Turn it down just a little bit.
How's that?
I think we might be better if we just go acapella.
Just acapella?
Yeah.
All right. Straight up. Let's go in. I got a glimpse of the beat. If you want to check out the track, 48 Bars of Wisdom.
All
right. So it's pretty simple. It goes like this. Oh, you wanted wisdom? Well, there you have it. Always caught up in this madness, consumed by the deadly habits. When it comes to this rap shit, call me an addict, cause I got mad facts and even got the tracks to back it. To all you whack rappers, it's game over. Had a chip on my shoulder, now I'm set free from these ropes. Cause bros quickly become foes, you know how it goes, and there's no loyalty when royalty takes over. When the money ain't involved, there's no other cause. You can see through their flaws that they got no remorse. As far as I recall, it's always someone else's fault. When's the last time you took the blame when it was yours? So keep your friends close and your enemies closer. If I offered you my time, then you better be worth it. Rolling dough in this showbiz, the closest thing to hopeless, but I remain focused on my goals until the joke's on them. And now to serve them well consistent, I develop a sixth sense for these Kansas sick plans. As the seasons change, I remain the same. It's my way or the highway. Better stick to your lane. If death is calling me, I won't answer the phone unless it's God to leave a message right after the tone. 7 in the morning, I'm ready for war with deadly metaphors that'll just weather the storm. I let it be known, and I'm about to set it off. At the count of 3, if you think I wouldn't go hard, you're barking up the wrong tree. OT like a OG, so I don't sleep. Long days, shorter nights, I'm on the ground like dope fiends. Word up. You boys holding it down for real. Blood, sweat, and tears now with the record of the year. Call it an overtonic flows way before Hope got his own label. We ain't gotta be blood to call you family, but if your love is lacking honesty, you get no empathy. Used to be my dog, you was in my left titty, but since you became a bitch, you can't even ride with peace. Simply put, I'm going in on different horizons. They say time flies. Good news is you're the pilot, mate. life, make it count, do anything that you desire. If music be the drug, you could call me the supplier, soul survivor. Let it sink in for a second. Been expressing my perspective on every record. Mom's always got me forever on my guest list. No respect for the ones that don't accept your presence. And pops, I'm a singer in heaven. Making the best of this journey in mine and counting my blessings, never my days. You told me to live life to the fullest. No more regrets, because it's all experience. 48 bars of wisdom.
Yeah, that one goes.
Track.
That used to be my dog reference was nice.
Yeah, you know
One
what
of my
that's from.
one of my favorite locks and DMX joints
Come
ever.
on, come on. You want to talk about that? Actually, it's the dog that got me in the game. Funny fact.
Yo,
It's
DMX.
really the dog that got me. Yep, actually. So of the CDs that my stepbrother had, the first album I ever get really a full spit in hip hop was "Dark and Hell Is Hot."
Yeah, that one fucking
By the
fire, man.
dog.
Classic.
Rest in peace. Rest in peace to DMX, man. It's
Yeah.
legend, bro. Rough Riders, big shout out. I was heavy on the double. I still am, bro. It's
Yeah.
just what they did. They fuck shit up, bro. They fuck shit up. Whether they want to admit it or not, they fuck shit up on so many levels.
Yeah.
So, anyways, so yeah, so X was definitely my first one, and then it sort of built around that. And then I wanted to, see what else, like, work with X, and then that's where you meet the Method Mans, and you're like, oh, mess with the Woo, and next thing you know, you're on the Woo record, and then the whole thing just sort of took off from there, Yeah.
Like when it comes to like influences and stuff like that, you have any personal influences, like local, like artists from Montreal that you would say?
Well, I'm going to give a shout out to my former, I would say, mentor slash exec producer, David Hodges, because I made a lot of music with him. And there was a time in my musical career where it was really just at his place. He was living next to my mom's. It was a quick, like, in and out, just like get verses done, get shit done. But Hodges is definitely one that I'm going to say I was a third of the MC I am today before I met Hodges. I think David is for if I'm sure you probably even know the name, but the guy is he's crazy, man. The guy just does it all, man. Like sing, raps, plays the keys, and I want to work some elements of that too. Sometimes I fuck around. I'm trying to make a beat, trying to lay some keys and this and that, right? I'm trying to work on different elements in your craft, but yeah, definitely Hodgela for sure. I mean, I take a little bit of everyone at the same time. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
like what I was saying to you earlier. It's like I know where I stand, but I also know that you can only be so good when you just rely upon yourself. You got to take because of element from everyone. So it was ill busy when I started with my group, and then eventually we got brought over to Hodges, and then once I started work with Hodges, that's really when my craft was like, because I kept telling me, yo, put me in check. You don't like one track, you don't like a 16, let me know. We gonna work on it. I'm gonna come off it, and one day he goes like, yo, man, you keep getting stronger every track you bring in, and I was like, okay, there you go. I want to make sure I keep hearing that. So I kept bringing that. So with Hodges, it was more like a storytelling type of material that I had, and I was missing a lot of the more like old school 90s boom bap.
Yeah.
So you got a little bit of more of that off the next record. I've got a bit of it's that balance, that mix of both. And it's sort of like what I give you now with the 48 bars of wisdom.
And what's
So
that?
yeah.
What's that last album that you released? What was your initial? What message were you trying to give people? Like, what were you trying to have them take from it?
Well, the concept of the album are two different things. First of all, there's the street alley, right? Graffiti street alley. If you see the front cover, it's really represents that. So that's the concept, but it was also be like an alley is a path, right? And once you leave that path, you have an option to go to the left or to the right, whatever street you're on, right? And that's sort of the path set between the two different roads. So at the same time, it was that, but it was also a metaphor of where do you stand now? You have choices in life to make, right? It's
Yeah.
like you could go straight, you could continue to take that path, or you could just go to the left, go to the right. But you have a direction to take in life, and it's up for you to make the most of it. And it's also a metaphor of where I was standing now when I wrote it, and what defined what was behind me, and what I'm gonna do on what's ahead of me, right? So there's
Yeah.
all these metaphors in terms of the concept. Shout out to Dave Apong just joined. So yeah, so that's it, man. So I try to build off a bit of that when I wrote the concept of the record, and also I wanted something that had a meaning. Wasn't just like a title for a title, you know? So yeah, at the same time, it was a title, long title for a long project, but I wanted something that was, I would consider relevant, you know? Not necessarily everybody's going to get that, but see, that this is why I love, you know, doing shit like podcasts and all that. We get to elaborate on things like that or anything in hip hop. There's so many records that we don't sometimes always get the first, well, we get the first layer of message, but there's always something beneath it, right?
Yeah.
And
It's always deeper than rap somehow, man.
Was that?
It's always deeper than rap somehow.
Always, bro, always, and it always will be. That's the beauty about hip hop, man. We take our craft seriously. There's so many gifted dudes in the game, and I really mad respect for what you do in your podcast because you giving us a voice, but at the same time, it's like we just realize how heavy the scene is, bro. We heavy up here, man. We taking it seriously, you know. So yeah, man.
So, as an MC from Montreal, what do you feel like there's, or if you have multiple things, what do you think Montreal scene's lacking right now?
Montreal scene's lacking it in terms of like artists, you mean?
No, what are they lacking? Like whether it's creative control, if it's fucking everyone's sounding the same, I don't know.
I wouldn't exactly go there. I think I would just say that we need more exposure, more venues, more money invested in our thing, you know. A lot of small pubs, a lot of, you know, I find that we could get up there with the standards that, you know, other cities have, you know. Like American cities, like obviously the jungle of hip hop, like New York's the perfect example, you know. So we have a lot of those venues, but I find that we should have a more of a cultural investment towards what we're building here in the city. I hope one day Montreal becomes the city of like, and I'm not just talking hip hop, I'm talking like so many genres, you know, you see like they're making a name elsewhere, Canadian tour, US tour, UK tours, then to come back to include Montreal on their tour, to like vouch for their home, and you know, I'll book a couple dates in my hometown, but yo, we should be popping here just as much as the Teal game is popping, just as much as the New York game, you know. So I find that we are getting there, but I feel like we still have certain ways to go to be like we up there. We can be up there. We have a lot of elements that are in place for that. There's sons of great art, you know, a lot of people that are organizing, you know, are still involved in the game today. There's a lot of active MCs. We're very crafted, and I feel like at the end, when let's say we talk about like, let's say top 30 MCs on our Spotify list, let's say it's only once in a while that someone from here is going to be brought up and mentioned, you know. And I feel like we got to have that mindset of like, there's no room for ego, y'all. You know, like if one of us make it, we all make it. But now we have to start making it. When I mean start making it, like a dude from Montreal that you can say like, yo, he reached stadium status, you know? He's up there. And he's bringing us along. No like, yo, I'm just going to roll my tour along. It's like, yo, tag us, yo. And I'm not just saying like, let us all eat, but build up a platform after that so that eventually, you know, we could get, there's nothing I would love more to see like venues like the Apollo in Montreal, you know, more of those. Oh, bro, we need those, man. We need those.
Definitely.
You know, like I feel like that would create another standard in the culture. You know, because instead of we all people doing our own thing, but then we're gonna just always playing around the same elements, the same thing. You know, and at the end of the day, I think we need to be resourceful on how we can build a community together for Montreal MCs. And that's why I fucks with what you do, bro, because you like. You give everyone a platform, you give everyone a chance, and that's all a lot of MCs are gonna ask. But it goes the same way when it comes to the more like stadium status, you know. I find so many MCs here that we could say, yo, they're up there.
Oh, for sure.
You know, Rico's one of them, but there's so many of them. You know, we could talk, you know, guys like you know, Basics, or you know, we talk Pashy, we could talk, you know, guys like Woodman, we could talk like, you know, some of the boys you interviewed, was it Young Breeze? Heavy.
That's my guy.
Mad Heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah. No doubt, no doubt, no doubt. So, so I feel like we should be up there, and I feel like there's still other cities that have a stronger foundation in the game that we do. We have a strong like base that we could build around. Don't get me wrong, the foundation is there. When I mean foundation, I'm not saying like we don't have venues, we don't have dope MCs, we don't have, you know, um, we've got all that, but we just need the top venues now so we can, you know, be up there.
Yeah, definitely. And there's only a few months left until we hit 2024. Before the end of the year, what do you want to achieve?
What I want to achieve, I think I want to like get pretty far in my process for writing the next EP. Hopefully get as much done so early 2024, sometime there in the whereabouts will be the release. Um, so yeah, man, I've got a concept in mind. I think it's going to be really heavy. And once I get there, I mean, my people, the community on the line with, y'all be the first to know. So I wanted something that's going to be relatively close, sound wise, to the latest record, but different at the same time.
Sure. And before we go, bro, you want to have any shout outs, anything you want to say, any links you want to share? Go ahead.
Yo, so I'm gonna be yeah, actually, well, link very simple. Prophecy to MC. Find me on any platforms. Prophecy, Prophecey, space DA, space MC. All right, so I did it in a slang way. So Prophecy to MC. Look me up, holla at me. You guys can chat on me on the line with, hit it up the DM, whatever y'all want. Make shout outs to, like the people that made me who I am today, like shout outs to Ill Busy, that's my family. Shout outs to Hodges that brought me up to here. Big shout out to Make Way, the studio I'm with now. Shout outs to Buds, everything he's doing. Big shout out to everybody in the 514, 450, everybody here in the city, man. We heavy. That's what I'm saying, yo. We could be up there, and we will eventually be up there. We just got to stick together as a community, and that's what On the Line With is all about. You feel me?
Or, bro, you're welcome back anytime, whenever you want to come on and
Appreciate
chat
you, my
about
guy.
more.
Thanks for putting me on, man. If there's one shout out, actually, last but not least, definitely you, my guy, man. Matt,
I
shout out to
appreciate it.
you and everything you do, bro. Keep it 100.
Always, man. And anytime you want to come on to promote something or just chop it up, uh, after the 100th episode, anybody's welcome to come back on. We're almost at 100 episodes. So again, today, this is episode 97 with Prophecy to MC. I'm your man Hanley from On the Line With. Episode 97 of Car Chats, sponsored by Diamonds Rising merch. Go check them out.
Yo,
Check out the other
definitely.
people I mentioned at the beginning of the interview. And yeah, my dude, have a good night. We'll chop it up again soon and stay in touch.
Yep, holla.
Peace, dude.
First.